What's up, guys? It's Diego Sultan here in Listenersnotes. Today is my top 30 best albums of 2016. I'm super excited for this. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to share my list with you guys. Hopefully you guys want to share your list with me in the comments below after this video. So yeah, these are my favorite albums of the year. My rating system does not apply here though. I will be including some albums higher up than maybe where I rated them in comparison to each other, but that's just how it works. I think I want to be able to account for how my taste might change or how my opinion on something might change. So there's that. And like I said, you might not agree with all these. There might be albums you like more, there might be albums you like less. That's fine. It's all opinion. I want to know your opinion though, and I want to know some of your favorite albums. So please, comments below, please let me know what you've been listening to this year. Let's get into it. From about 30 to 16, I'm going to just name the album, maybe say the genre, and then from then on, from 15 all the way to my best album, I will give a description. Number 30 is the band Nails. This one is titled You Will Never Be One of Us. This is a great power violence and grindcore record, some really nice heavy metal. Number 29, rap group the Underachievers come back with It Happened in Flatbush. With number 28, we have Bruno Mars' 24 Karat Magic, my favorite Bruno Mars project. Number 27, indie rock group Arc Iris with Moon Saloon. With number 26, we have Roly Porter's Third Law. This is a really nice dark ambient project. It sounds like, like a sci-fi horror film. It's progressive thrash metal band Vektor came through with Terminal Redux. Great storyline to this album as well. Check it out. Number 24, Childish Gambino, Awaken My Love, my favorite Gambino project by far. I hope he does not return to rapping. Make a better soul project. I'd be ecstatic to see him try to improve and get even better at that sound. With number 23, we have Touche Amore with Stage 4. Great screamo project, little elements of post-hardcore and jangle pop as well. Number 22, we have Solange's A Seat at the Table. I'm sure you guys will like this neo-soul sort of sound. Number 21, industrial noise rock band Street Sects comes through with End Position, one of the nastiest albums this year. Number 20 is the new project from rap group Czarface, A Fistful of Peril. Number 19, we have Ab-Soul with Do What Thou Wilt. All over the place, it contradicts itself. Sometimes the lyrics don't make any sense, but there's a lot of clever punchlines. 18, we have the new album from psychedelic garage rock sort of band King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. This one's called Nonagon Infinity. 17, we have cloud rapper Bones with the project Useless, my favorite Bones project this year since he releases a lot. Number 16, abstract rapper Mick Jenkins came through with a lyrical masterpiece in the Healing Component. Alright, now like I said, I will be describing these next few albums a lot more in depth, starting with number 15, Xenia Rubinos with Black Terry Cat. This is a fun project, lots of elements of funk as well as pop in here. Xenia has a beautiful voice, and I think she does a great job crafting these bass lines that are just so much fun to dance to. But the biggest element here that stood out to me was the depth of lyrics here. She talks on a lot of social commentary, and she does it very well. Talks about a lot of race issues, both with number 14 is YG's Still Brazy. This one-ups YG's last project, My Crazy Life, by far. And I know it's not the mustard sound that a lot of people like. He's going to be doing that again. So if you're into that, get hyped. But I love this G-Funk sound. He really brought justice to that era. But it didn't sound like just a nostalgic album. He sounded like he belongs in the G-Funk era. And that's the best part about it. He owned that sound. And lyrically, you see YG take a big step up on this project. He's focusing more on his storytelling, more on his lyrics. And it was just a good thing to hear. As much as I might miss the G-Funk, if he does these same kind of lyrics with his next Mustard project, I will like it as well. Number 13, we have Injury Reserve with Floss. This album was great. It was a last-minute hip-hop three-pointer, but it worked. Lots of great lyrics. The beats are awesome. We got a few bangers on this, then a few more calm jazz rap songs, and then a few like auto-tune croon fest as well, and it was a nice mix. They have a pretty accessible sound, even though they aren't very well known yet. I think if you like a very trap-centric banger centric or even jazz rap sort of vibe, you'll like these guys. This sound is not as far out there as some of the other albums I might be naming. Number 12, we have Aesop Rock with The Impossible Kid. Aesop Rock, man, he does it again. These lyrics on this album are insane. It's an experience in itself, a fun one at that. Just sitting down and flipping through the lyrics on Genius or whatever website you use and just reading all of them. He really crafted that portion of this album, and I think the production's actually pretty good as well. I think overall this album sounds good. I've always liked Aesop's rapping delivery, flow, and cadence, so of course I was going to enjoy that aspect, but he did a great job making some personal lyrics as well as some socially conscious lyrics, and all of them worked out great. Number 11, we have Sturgill Simpson with A Sailor's Guide to Earth. My favorite country album this year. Mind you, I listened to like 10 or 15. That's not very fair. It's something I plan on improving on next year, but it's just an incredible album. Everything about this album just sounds great. I like how all of these elements come together in a perfect way. The instrumentation is great. It's not just traditional country. If you do not like country, I still think you should check this out. If you like country and you haven't heard this, broaden your horizons and check this out. This is number 10. We have No Worries with Yes Lord. I like this album a lot. Very nice beats from Knowledge. Lots of it was a lot of Madlib and J Dilla influence, as you would expect from great samples. And Anderson .Paak did his thing. I love this guy. His vocal cadence is great. His delivery is great. So much charisma, so much personality. His voice is so unique, and I love hearing that. Of course, as you would expect lyrically, it's Anderson .Paak being as lustful, as depraved as he possibly can. He did it well. It's Anderson .Paak. If you like the guy, you'll probably like this project. Number 9, we have the Dillinger Escape Plan with Dissociation. My favorite metal album this year by far. It is so nasty and head crushing. These guys, this is their final album. They're a math metal group, and what I like about it is they go for this technical sound without compromising any sort of visceralness, any sort of cacophony. It is still a disgusting, nasty album, but it has so much technical nuance to it, so many different layers, so many different time signatures as you would expect with math, and they just incorporate that so well with a nice little bow. It just sounds great. I recommend checking it out if you're into that kind of loud music. Number 8, we have Clipping with Splendor and Misery. These guys did it again. It's not the same as their first LP, Clipping with no vowels. This one is definitely not the same kind of thing where you can just put it in and listen to it. It's a concept album, a very good concept album. They managed to tell a very concise story. It's a short amount of time, but they have a lot of character development. The story's flushed out. It sounds great. It reads great. It's a good narrative. And I just like what they did. It's really pushing boundaries. But with Daveed Diggs coming back from Hamilton, you see a lot of that sound in here regardless of when this was recorded. I think they did great. I love this project. And I just love hearing Clipping continue to push their sound wherever they see fit. I praise ambition like this. Number 7, we have A Tribe Called Quest with We Got It From Here, Thank You For Your Service. A Tribe Called Quest did it with this thing. They did a great job. It was great to hear them back, even if it was just for one LP. Rest in peace to Phife Dawg. What he gave to this album, though, was excellent. The lyrics on this album, very socially conscious, very socially aware, commenting on lots of issues. And they also just paid homage to Phife Dawg in the most tasteful ways they could, and I loved it. You also hear lots of Busta Rhymes on this thing, lots of Consequence, Kendrick Lamar, Anderson .Paak, great features, great boom bap jazz beats. But I really do have to give the biggest shout out to Q-Tip, not only for finishing this project without the help of Phife Dawg and with that sort of emotional burden, but first and foremost, he killed it on this album. So many good hooks, verses, everything. Shout out to Q-Tip. You killed it, man. Number 6, we have Danny Brown with Atrocity Exhibition. What I love about this album is how willing he is to push boundaries. This is not the traditional hip-hop album. It's beats, but they're all over the place. They have this punk rock experimental influence to them, and they just sound great. So many out there beats, but I think between the production from Paul White, but also the lyrical concepts of Danny Brown, where he dives into the negative side of drug use that a lot of rappers would ignore when they do their drug songs. And what I like about this is how honest it is, how great the lyrics are, and just how it sounds. These are my favorite beats in 2016 by far. The production on this is just incredible. Shout out to Paul White and all the other producers who helped out. I just love hearing these kind of sounds. Very dark, but very unique. And if you're a fan of hip-hop, of course, please check this out. I know it's weird, it's different. Give it a listen. If you don't like it, that's fine. But don't let it slip by without at least giving it a listen. Number 5, we have David Bowie and his last album, Black Star. Rest in peace to David Bowie as well. This album is incredible. It's breathtaking. It's also sometimes hard to get through. Not in the sense that it's bad, but it's emotionally taxing. This is almost David Bowie knowing that he's going to die and trying to tell us his experiences of going through it, his experiences of knowing that, his own predictions for what people will say. And it's dark, it's tough to get through, but he wrote the album so well. The lyrics are really great, especially when you bring in the context. But even without the context of his dying, this sounds like a great project. I love what David Bowie did here. Once again, rest in peace to him. If you haven't heard this album, it's a cultural thing you should experience. Number 4, we have Anderson .Paak with Malibu. My boy Anderson .Paak. I was anticipating this album since the single Come Down came out, and this thing was so good. It's long, but I feel like every moment in it is sweet. Great vocals, great instrumentals. I love the layered strings and horns and drums and bass. It just sounds excellent. The sound seems it seems like the sonic elements of this album were handled very meticulously, and of course Anderson .Paak, lots of charisma. He pulls off these very sensual lyrics like he always has, and I just love this project. This is definitely the best thing in R&B this year. If you haven't heard this thing, of course, like I've been saying, check it out. Number 3, we have experimental rock band Swans with their new album, The Glowing Man. This album is a trip. Yes, it's a rock album that is 8 songs and 2 hours long with these massive song lengths. It's tough to get through sometimes because it's so long, but the attention to detail here instrumentally is incredible. It's otherworldly trying to listen through this album. It sounds amazing. So many layers, so many repeating pieces of instrumentation like Swans has always done, but it seems like they almost refined it and made it a more mellow, more layered experience where you can't even tell when new pieces are coming in and coming out. It's just such a refined, focused piece of Swans, and I'm excited to see what the new rendition of Swans is. Whatever Michael Girard is doing, I am always excited to hear that. Number 2, we have Death Grips with Bottomless Pit. Experimental hip-hop group Death Grips. They did it again. I mean, there's not much to say about these guys. You probably heard of them. You might hate them. You might love them. But this album, they combined everything they had done before, and I think that's why a lot of people were disappointed in it. Most Death Grips fans are really excited to hear them push their sounds into boundaries that they never knew could be crossed. But this was the first album where they kind of took a step back and looked within. But when you listen to this album, especially after going back throughout their entire discography, you hear an influence from almost everywhere. You hear the catchiness of The Money Store, you hear the glitchy electronics and the roaring guitar riffs of the powers that be, and I would even say that you hear the great MC Ride performance that you get from No Love Deep Web. This is just the best of everything Death Grips has, and they put it into one package. It is near perfect. I love this thing. Great release from these guys. Shout out to Death Grips. And my favorite album of 2016 was The Avalanches with Wildflower. This is the reason why I reviewed their first album, Since I Left You. This new album is incredible. I would go as far as to say that it is better than Since I Left You, but I know that's a very unpopular opinion, and I'm fine with that. I don't really care if that pisses someone off. It is what I enjoyed more, and that is the point of these lists. It's what I enjoyed, and I loved this thing. Combine sort of that goofy, silly, fun element that you always get with the Avalanches, especially on songs like Frankie Sinatra or the Noisy Eater with Biz Markie. But it also had this very sweet, melodic, psychedelic quality to it. I think it was a great change. This was their first album that had vocal features on it, and I think these guys did great. It doesn't have to be all samples for it to be a good project, but it's excellent. Danny Brown killed this project. I also think that Toro y Moi did a great job on this project. Biz Markie, like I said before, he did good. K-Camp, yeah. So that is my favorite album list of 2016. I want to see yours in the comments below. I will have links to reviews and to where you can listen to these albums in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you enjoyed this. Listener's notes.